All right, welcome everybody. Here we go again. The Aviators getting after it again tonight. Here taking on Moorhead. This is the rematch of the first game of the year for the Aviators. They took on Moorhead Spuds and down in Moorhead. We were just talking about it. I can't exactly remember what that score was. I should have looked it up, but I believe it was either 4-2, 5-2, somewhere in that range. Either way, Moorhead walked home victoriously in that one. But rematch here tonight back in Grand Forks. Aviators on their home ice here at the Icon. Moorhead traveling up in probably would have been an interesting drive as the snow starts to fall. Wind starting to pick up as well. Probably be a little bit worse on the ride home, but either way, we'll play this one. Aviators having some struggles early on in the season here, but looking to right the ship. Moorhead will be a tough test, though. They are highly ranked in Minnesota and in the MINDAC rankings. I believe last time I looked, they were sitting in 7th ranked throughout all the teams in Minnesota and North Dakota for the Bantam A division. Trying to see if we got anybody missing out there tonight. I did hear there was a report Luke Nicholson having some back pain. He wears number 16. I do not see him on the ice. So actually I see him standing on the bench over there. So no Luke this evening, but the Aviators will make adjustments. I believe I heard that Jace Kulak will slide up to forward. So Aviators will roll with 5 defensemen. Yeah, keep their lines whole. And if what I heard from the boys is correct, we'll see Dom Norby playing in net. And then tomorrow afternoon, we have a 1:45 game. You're definitely not going to want to miss that one. The Aviators get a first crack at their in-town rivals as they take on the Grand Forks Blue team. That'll be at 1:45. Coming live from the BLC Iceplex, where Red River plays their home games. So a little change of venue. Haven't played there yet this year. We got about 20 seconds left in the warm-up here, and then we'll get this game underway. Still working on the broadcast settings and everything. I did a bunch of research this week on adjusting settings within the camera on the iPhone that I use. Hopefully it's starting to look a little better. We are on the Wi-Fi here as well. Not sure if that's helping or making it worse. I did an upload speed test and said it was good, but it doesn't always necessarily mean that it's going to work perfectly, but I know the audio should be coming through all right. We've been using this setup for a few games now, and I've listened back, and it does sound okay. So hopefully the audio or the video is a little bit better tonight. We did notice that when trailing the play from one end to the other, it was starting to get a little grainy or blurry or whatever it may be, but we'll keep trying to give you a better product each and every week. Aviators gathering around their goaltender down in the corner. Pucks are picked up. Teams are ready to go. We'll have 17 minutes on the scoreboard for this first period. We get ready to get underway here in Grand Forks. Looks like we'll have the Mason Fargo line out there. He'll have Jace Kulak to his left. Looks like wide by to his right, and Nick Henderson and Dax Norby starting that defense for the Aviators. Here we go, Grand Forks, Moorhead. We are underway. Moorhead wins that one back into their own zone. Pass through the neutral zone, gets blocked. In comes the Aviators. Kulak trying to feed it over to By. Moorhead gathers it up, but taken away back by Mason Fargo, trying to get through a swarm of defensemen. Moorhead takes away, and back through the neutral zone they go. Slipping through the defense, down into the corner. Daxton on defense, trying to steal this one back. Looks like he'll poke that away. Skate this one forward, trying to take this one up himself. Hands it off to Fargo. Got caught up in his feet a little bit there, and Moorhead turns it right back. Easton Green fresh off the bench, shot sent on. That one goes off the side of the net. Fargo in the corner trying to get this one back. Looks like Moorhead still has control. Now it comes over to Daxton on the near side. He feeds it to the middle, all the way to the far side, gets it over to Kulak. Kulak tried to feed it to the middle so he could go for a change, but Moorhead picked it off, and they send it back down into the Aviators' end, and they'll go for a change. Easton Green down in the corner, feeds it up the wall, gets it up to Blasky. Blasky trying to feed it forward to Daxton. That goes off the ref. Moorhead brings it in. Cuts to the middle, trying to get through the defense. Knocked away there by Easton Green. He'll pick it up behind his own net. Tried to work it up, caught in his jersey, still skating it forward. Backhands one up, trying to get to Blasky, but Moorhead steps up, takes that one away. Now Jordy Shower chips around one defenseman down into the Moorhead end. They send it out in the neutral zone, goes off a Easton stick, gets it over to Benson. That goes off a stick high down into the Moorhead end. They'll go behind their own net to pick this one up. Send up the far side, now to the middle. Moorhead with some speed, backhands it through the middle, but stopped there by Benson. He's going to skate this one forward. He's got a little bit of space. Cuts down the middle, shot sent on. That one off the stick. Second try there for Benson. Tried to get the rebound. Couldn't quite get solid wood on it. Moorhead gets control of it, and they'll go behind their own net. Actually, it'll come out to the goaltender. He'll cover that one up, and we'll get a face-off. Well, just over 2 minutes played here. Back and forth a little bit so far in the first period. Seffi's line comes out for the Aviators. She'll take the face-off. She's got Owen Berg to her right. That's Caden Yana with the shot on the left. Here's a chance for Seffi trying to poke it in. Goaltender gets his pad down, covers that one up. We'll reset and get a face-off. Daxton and Charlie out there on defense for the Aviators. Seffi will take the face-off once again. Push forward, Moorhead gets control. They're going to rinse one around. They're trying to spring a guy down this near side. Looks like it'll go too far. That'll be icing on the Spuds. So we'll reset back down in the Spuds end for a face-off. Deputy take the face-off once again. This time on the near side. She'll look to win this one back. Tied up. Here's Yana. He tries to backhand one down. It comes out to the point. Daxton tries to fire one on. Whiffed on that one a little bit. Moorhead gathers it up and back they come. Down the near side, trying to feed it to the middle. Moorhead feeds it behind the net. They play pitch and catch. Charlie comes over, pokes it up the wall, gets it to Owen Berg. He rings around to the far side. That'll be picked up by Caden Yana. He chips one out into the neutral zone. Knocked down by a Moorhead stick. Picked up here by Berg. Berg trying to get around the defense. Down in the corner, backhands one out front. That went off the skate. Moorhead gathers it up, and they'll work this one out into the neutral zone. Working on Henderson. He pokes that one away along the sidewall. Henderson with it tied up. Mason Fargo slide back down. He chips this one out. Looks like it will probably end up going all the way down for icing, and it does, and we'll reset back down in the Aviators' end. 13:52 remaining here, first period. 0-0 still here between the Aviators and the Spuds. Fargo's line out there for the Aviators. He's got Kulak and By with him. Henderson and Green on defense. Henderson with the puck now. He goes behind his own net. Takes a look, feeds one back to the near side. That goes off a By stick out in the neutral zone. Moorhead gets control. Nice job by Mason Fargo there, following up the play. Chipped it in, and they say By was offsides. So we'll get a face-off just outside the Moorhead end. Mason Fargo. Big hit there. Kulak goes down. Henderson with it. He sends it over to Easton Green. Green chips it up the wall, down in the Moorhead end. They get control of it, go D to D. Sent through the middle. Nice job there by Kulak defending that, though. It comes onto the stick of Mason Fargo. Down the right side, trying to get around the defenseman. Feeds it out front. That one off a stick. Wyatt had a little bit of space there. Could have got a shot off, but nice job of defending by Moorhead there. They get it down into the Aviators' end, trying to get around Easton Green. He gets that one poked away. Chips it up to the blue line, but not out. Actually, it does come out in the neutral zone. Moorhead gets control. They send it back to the near side here. Now through the middle. That pass off the mark. Henderson read that like a book. Henderson still with it. Tries to feed it up the wall. Gets it to Kulak. He slips a check. Gets it down in the Moorhead end. Wyatt, the only Aviator out there, as the rest of them went for a change. Now comes Mason Fiala and Ryder Blasky. Fiala with it now. He brings it back into the Moorhead end. Gets around one defense. Shot sent on up and over the shoulder in the back of the net. The Aviators take the 1-0 lead here with 12:29 remaining in the first period. Sniper's goal there for Mason Fiala as he finds the back of the net. Short side up and over the shoulder. And the Aviators lead by 1. Face off one back by Moorhead. They feed it up the wall. Picked up by Charlie. Feeds it over to Benson. Benson through the middle. That was off the mark. He did have Fiala wide open, but sent it in front of him just a little bit. And we'll set back up down in the Aviators' end for a face-off. Fiala's line out there. He's got Jordy Schauer and Ryder Blasky as his wingers. Here's Benson. Picks it up, trying to work on the defenseman. Chips and goes around. Gets there first. Back side ref said no ice, but the one on the other side up front said it was. And we'll get an icing call and set back up into the Aviators' end. Bang, bang right there at the red line. Sometimes you let those ones go, but not tonight. Fiala to take the face off for the Aviators. Tied up, it comes out to the point. Jordy Schauer trying to steal that one away. Now Fiala down in the corner. He had his pocket picked. Stolen away by Benson, gets it up to Schauer. Schauer chips it up now onto the stick of Fiala. Fiala down the far side, chipped off the stick. He gets laid out hard, arm up though. Looks like a penalty coming here to Moorhead. So the Aviators will go on the power play. Interference call on the Spuds. Aviators will have a 2-minute power play here up on the board. 11:49 remaining first period. Aviators lead by 1. They're going to look to extend that lead here on the power play. Seffi's line out for the Aviators. One over to the sidewall. Gets it to Yana. Yana over to Daxon. Daxon fires. Misses just wide. Comes up to the point. Picked up by Henderson. He slips through one defender. Shot sent on into the belly of the goaltender. Looked like Yana got a stick on it, trying to chip it over the goalie's leg pad, but couldn't quite beat the goaltender. We'll set up for another face-off. Seffi pushes that one forward. Berg goes after it. Now Yana has it in the corner. Trying to slip away from the check. Seffi comes over to help out. Seffi out of the corner. Tries to feed it over to Berg. That got off a stick and into the near side corner. Sent to the middle. Yana trying to get a stick on it. Moorhead's going to gather this one up. They send it through the middle. Daxon takes that one away. He fires it back down in. Berg will be the first one on it for the Aviators here. He chips it down below the goal line. Yana behind his own net, or behind the Spuds net. Takes a look. Feeds it over to Berg. Back to Yana. Yana back up to Daxon at the point. Takes a look. Sends him through the middle. Trying to lay it out. Moorhead feeds it out into the neutral zone. Picked up by Henderson. He works it forward, gets it to the blue line, but can't get it in. Sent back down to the Aviators' end, picked up by Daxon. He's got some space. He's going to skate this one forward. Works through the middle. He gets laid out again. Sent out to the point. Kulak trying to keep it in. Moorhead will get control of this one as the Aviators go for a change. Sent off the glass. It'll come out in the neutral zone. Picked up by Wyatt. He sends it across the middle. Went off a Moorhead stick. Picked up by Wyatt. Working 1-on-2. We're going to say hand pass, though, as I think Kulak knocked that one down. And Wyatt was the first one to touch it, so hand pass called. We're going to face off back down in the Aviators' end. 37 seconds left to go on the power play for the Aviators. Had a couple chances at the start of the power play, but haven't got much since then. Picked up by Easton Green. Works it towards the wall, gets it up to Wyatt. Wyatt takes a look, feeds one to the middle. That goes off a stick. Moorhead will control this one. Here's Benson trying to feed out. That one's off the ref. Moorhead's able to send it back down below the goal line. Easton Green will pick this one up first. He backhands one over to Benson. Benson with it, goes behind his own net, takes a look, feeds one through the middle, gets it to Wyatt. Wyatt 3-on-2, feeds one across. That goes off a stick and out of play, though. And we're going to face off here. Looks like the ref took that one in the hand, maybe. He's feeling that one showing, or excuse me, the linesman showing the ref his boo-boo. About 3 seconds to go here on the power play for the Aviators. Picked up by Daxon. Chips that one forward, but Moorhead pokes it back into the neutral zone. We are back into the Aviators' end. We're back to 5-on-5 hockey as the putter comes out for Moorhead. Moorhead with control here. They chip it out in the middle, feed it over to the near side wall. Now back it down into the Aviators' end. Daxon will chase after this one. Battle for it, comes loose, picked up by Fiala. Fiala gets tied up behind the net. Now Miedema battling for it. They try to feed one out front. Got a shot out there. Dom had to make a save. Now off a skate out front. Now Fiala has it behind the net. Moorhead buzzing here. Now they have control. Fiala gets control. That goes behind his own net. Feeds one off. Tried to feed it up the wall, but actually hit Blasky in the chest. Moorhead gets control. They have it down the near side. Spin around temp. Shot sent on. That went off a skate and up and out of play, and we get a whistle. Action starting to pick up here. Moorhead starting to control in the Aviators' end. Aviators lucky to get that whistle as Moorhead was kind of buzzing around in the zone there. 8:56 remaining first period. 1-0 the Aviators. They're leading in the shot department as well, as it says 6-2 on the scoreboard. Seffi's line comes up for the Aviators. Puck loose in the slot here. Moorhead pushes it over to the near side wall. That goes off the glass up into the air. Now picked up by Seffi. Seffi trying to get control of it here. Goes behind her own net. Shifts it up the sidewall. Comes to Yana. He loses that in his skates. Moorhead gets control. Battle for it here. Seffi steals that one away. Trying to get through the ref skate. She spins away from one check. Still has the puck. Feeds it up the wall. Gets to Yana. Yana takes a look. Feeds it to the middle. Gets it to Henderson. Henderson up to skate this one up. Now down into the Moorhead end. Cuts it to the middle. Shot sent on. Goaltender makes a blocker save. That one goes up in the air. Berg gets on it in the corner. Now comes Yana to help out. Moorhead digs it out first. They'll chip it up the wall. Sent back in earlier there by Easton Green, and we'll get a whistle and a face-off coming just outside the Moorhead end. .808 remaining first period. Aviators with a 1-0 lead. Out comes the far goal line. He's got Kulak to his left, Wyatt by to his right. Henderson and Miedema, or not Henderson, excuse me, that'll be Benson and Miedema on defense. Moorhead with control. They feed it up the wall. That one's misplayed. Charlie tried to feed it back in. Moorhead back they come. 2-on-1 opportunity here. Sent to the middle. Nice defensive play there. Benson was able to get a skate on it. Sent out front. Whipped on. Here's a shot through traffic. Right into the glove of Dom, and he holds on, and we'll get a face-off. Moorhead with a couple of golden opportunities, but couldn't quite get a solid shot off there. Dom makes a glove save on a bouncing puck coming at him. Face off, one back by Fargo. Gets to Miedema. Back up to Fargo. Kulak tried to give it to Fargo. It goes actually back down deeper. Now Miedema again. Feeds it up to Wyatt. Wyatt over to Mason. Mason trying to push this one forward. That's Mason Fargo down the right side. Takes a look, feeds one through. Goaltender gets a stick on it, pops it up in the air. Fargo gets after it in the corner, comes loose to wide by. He tries to feed one up front. Here's Mason Fargo. Shots it on. Goaltender makes a glove save and holds on. Fiala line comes out for the Aviators. He's got Jordy Schauer and Ryder Blasky with him. Ryder behind the net. Gets control, feeds it out front. Here's Schauer. Schauer shot off. Goaltender makes a big blocker save. Schauer all alone. Kind of got off balance there. I don't know if he got a solid shot off, but here's an opportunity for Moorhead. Back they come. Henderson trying to hurry back. Does get there first. Defending well. Henderson feeds it up to Schauer. Schauer up to Fiala. Fiala down the right side trying to get around the defenseman. This one will come rolling in on the goaltender. He elects to cover that up and take the whistle. Aviators getting a couple of chances of their own here. 6:46 remaining first period. We did start on dirty ice, so we will take a break after the first period as we'll get fresh ice. Chipped up into the neutral zone, defended there by Henderson. Daxon trying to steal that one away. It'll come to Schauer. Schauer feeds one to the far side. That's in front of Blasky. It'll come down in the Moorhead end. They'll get on this one first. They like to go behind their own net. Sent through the middle. Daxon defends that one well. Now Easton trying to steal it away, but good poke there, I believe, by Easton. Takes that one away. Daxon feeds one over to Blasky. Blasky dumps it in. He'll chase after this one down below the goal line. He gets on it first. Overskated that one. Steals it back. Works it out front. Trying to get a shot off. Here's Schauer back in the net. Aviators lead by 2. Busted play down there, but Aviators battling in front of the net. Schauer picks it up. Not sure if the goaltender even saw that one, but it finds its way to the back of the net, and the Aviators lead 2-0 here with about 6 minutes to play in the first period. Out comes Seffi's line. She has Berg to her right, Yana to her left. Green and Benson on defense. Moorhead wins it back. They go D-to-D, send it up the near side. Benson comes up to make a big hit, lays off on that one. Easton Green defends well in front of his own goaltender. Feeds it up the wall, gets it to Berg. Berg with it, slips around one guy. Feeds it to the far side, gets it to Benson. Benson will skate this one forward. Brings it into the zone, trying to make a move. Lost the handle on that one. Moorhead will chip it out in the neutral zone. Be picked up by Berg. Berg feeds up the wall, taken away by Moorhead. They'll bring it right back into the Aviators' end. Spinning pass there, stolen away by Seffi. She gets swallowed up, knocked down by a couple Moorhead players. They'll take control and work it into the Aviators' end. Shots it on, blocker save. Bouncing puck, rebound. Shots it on. I don't think it actually made it to Dom. Players trying to get control of this puck. Here's an opportunity for Benson. He's going to have to hurry. Goaltender comes out to play it. Nicely done by the Moorhead goaltender as he feeds it up to his winger. Spuds were going for a change. Otherwise, that could have led to an odd man rush. Sent through the middle. Shots in on. That one whistles by the far goal post. Picked up by Miedema. Taken away from him. It'll come to the near side corner. Now Berg. Berg feeds it back behind the net. Over to Benson. Benson elects to just fire this one down. That one will go down for icing. And we'll get a whistle and a face-off back down on the Aviators' end. Smart play there by Benson, though. Boys were tired, just needed to get off the ice. Take the whistle, get some fresh legs out there. 4:45 remaining first period. 2-0 Aviators. Fargo's line comes out for the Aviators. He pushes this one forward. He'll gather it up. Poked away. Moorhead keeps it in the zone. Miedema back down in the corner, picks it up. Reverses it back to Fargo. Fargo gets it up to Kulak. Kulak trying to feed it to the near side over to Bai. That was behind him. Bai feeds it to Miedema. Miedema tried to get it up to Fargo. Knocked off of his stick. Back on Bai's stick. He feeds it over to the far side. It comes to Kulak. Kulak goes behind his own net. Chips it up the wall. It'll come over to wide Bai. Taken away by Moorhead. They feed it back down below the goal line. Miedema steals that one away. Gets it to Wyatt. He gets bumped off the puck. Battle for it in the corner. Fargo pushes over to the far side, picked up by Miedema. Miedema feeds it up to Kulak. Kulak over to the near side, trying to find Wyatt. Here's Miedema. Gets it up to Wyatt. Wyatt dumps one in. That goes in on the goaltender. He elects to cover this one up. And we're going to face off here on the near side, down in the Spuds end. 3:54 to go here, first period. Fiala line comes out for the Aviators. Jordy Schauer, the goal scorer on that second goal for the Aviators, on his right. Blasky on. This line having a big night so far. They got both goals. Fiala, the centerman, and Schauer, the winger, with both goals here for the Aviators. Nice shot sent on there by Henderson. It was tipped. Goaltender made a nice save to keep that one out of the net. Moorhead works it into the zone, down the left side. Picked up by Schauer. Works it out over the red line, but Moorhead will take it right back. But thrown away here by Blasky, trying to get a handle on this one. Puck comes loose, comes to Fiala. He sends it back down below the goal line. Fiala, or now Blasky with it. Trying to get control. Moorhead sends it over the other side. Fiala chases this one down. He works it down below the goal line. Moorhead steals away, sends it over the near side. Henderson will slide down to keep this one in. Works it down below the goal line. Had poked away from him. Blasky trying to keep it down low there. Comes over to the other side, picked up by Fiala. He sends it back to Blasky on this side. Puck comes loose out front. Schauer tried to get there, but couldn't quite. Moorhead will break this one out in the neutral zone. Henderson defending nicely there. Took that one away, but an offsides call here on Moorhead. And we're going to face off just outside the Aviators' end. One back by Moorhead. They feed it up the far side, dump it down in the Aviators' end. Teffield chase after this one down below the goal line behind their own net. She spins away from one, but ran into another one. Spuds take it away. Seffi gets it back though below behind the goal. Moorhead steals away. Picked up by Mina behind his own net. He backhands one up the wall. Comes to Berg. Berg sends one off the wall. It's a little bit too far though for Yana, as that one goes for icing, and we'll head back down. 2:24 remaining first period. 2-0 Aviators. Couple big goals by that top line for the Aviators. Mason Fiala and Jordy Schauer. One back here by Seffi. Battle for it. Looks like it'll be Miedema backhanding one over to Seffi. Seffi trying to find something to do with this one. Puck comes out and slot picked up here by Berg. He has to stick handle through traffic to get that out of harm's way. Fed up to the point. They go D to D. Shot coming. That goes off a stick high and up and out of the net. Or up into the netting. Actually, it might have went off of Dom's helmet the way he was checking to see if his strap was still on. And we're going to face off here on the near side in the Aviators' end. Excuse me, sorry about that. Fargo line comes out for the Aviators. Face up, tied up. Comes out to the defenseman for Moorhead. They work it down into the high slot. Knocked away here by Henderson. Battle for it. He chips one off the wall. Gets it up to Kulak. Kulak backhands one through the middle, but knocked down by Moorhead. They go D to D. They chip it up the sidewall. Moorhead works it into the Aviators' end. Almost. They tried to. Kulak did a nice job of defending the blue line there. Puck comes loose to Henderson. Henderson through the middle. Couldn't quite get it through the maze of Moorhead sticks. Now down the left side, Daxon trying to steal that one away. It comes out to the point. Shot sent on. Dom makes a save. Big rebound. Cleared away by Henderson. He goes behind his own net. Has his pocket picked, but it comes loose to Kulak. Kulak feeds it over to the near side to Wyatt, but that's a little bit in front of him. Moorhead will get it first. They loop back in their own zone. They send it up the sidewall. That goes off a skate. Comes bouncing away. Moorhead gathers it up, though. They'll bring it into the Aviators' end, down the right side. Down low, they try to feed up front. They had a couple players all alone up front, but the Aviators cleared that up pretty good. Down into the corner, Moorhead with it. They feed it over to the near side. Back to the other side. Backhanded up front. Picked up by Daxon. Daxon tried to feed it off the wall. Now it's Wyatt is able to clear it down. And this one will go for icing. And we'll set back up in the Aviators' end. 36.8 seconds to go, first period. Aviators leading 2-0. Looks like it'll be a Fiala line here to finish out the period. Face off one back by Moorhead. They send one through the middle. Bouncing puck. They find the back of the net. Tipped on the way in. Slow roller to the backside. Moorhead able to get a stick on it, and they get in the back of the net, and they cut this lead down to 1. Oh, 32 seconds left here in the first period. Fiala to take the face off, one back by Moorhead. They loop back into their own zone. They send it up the near side, off a skate, picked up by Shower. Moorhead will dump it down into the Aviators' end. Race for it here. Easton Green trying to defend, sent out front, but picked away by Benson here. About 15 seconds to go. He looks up to see how much time he's got. Works it down the right side, gets around the defenseman, lost the handle on it though. Almost ran into Blasky behind the net. Benson feeds it out, gets it to Fiala. Fiala shots in on. Goaltender takes that one to chest and holds on to that one. Blasky trying to get a stick on that just before the goaltender, but unable to. Well, Fiala take this face off with about a second and a half to play in the period. Face off one back. Fiala tried to get a shot off, but it went off a shin guard, and that is the end of the first period. So we'll take a short little break here, about 10 to 15 minutes as we get some fresh ice. 2-1 hockey game here. Aviators leading after 1. Hopefully you can stick around and watch the next 2 periods with us. We'll be right back. All right, folks, back. We are for the second period. Aviators should be coming out on the ice just momentarily here. Getting the Zamboni doors closed. Here comes the Aviators. They got to be feeling good after period one. They lead by a score of 2-1. As we talked about before the game, this was the very first game of the year for the Aviators. They took on Moorhead down in Moorhead. That was a late start game, like an 8 o'clock start down there as well. Moorhead winning that one. I believe it was 5-2. They were up, I think, 5-0 at one point. Aviators scoring a couple goals late in that one, if I remember correctly. Maybe I'm totally off. I really don't know, actually. Either way, after one, Aviators is with the 1-goal lead here. Players out on the ice getting stretched out, ready to get this second period underway. It should be a battle the rest of the way. Moorhead looking like a little different team than we saw earlier this year. It seemed like they were pretty crisp in that first game we played against them. They had a few issues in that first period. They couldn't quite get the flow going, but finding their way at the end of the second period there. But the Aviators moving the puck a lot better than we have seen in the last couple of weekends. So if they can stick with that here for the next couple of periods, it could bode well for them. But either way, we're going to see Moorhead give them a push at some point here. Aviators are going to have to keep finding ways to get pucks to the net, get rebounds, get some bodies in front of the goaltender's eyes, create some traffic. We'll see what they do here for the next two periods. We switch ends for the second period. Shots showing 11-8 in favor of the Aviators. 17 minutes up on the board. Starting lines out there for both teams. Mason Fargo's line will come out. He's got White to his right, Jace to his left, Henderson and Daxon on defense. Puck is down, we're underway, second period. Aviators are trying to send this one in. That one by Wyatt almost took his coach's head off. And we'll reset at center ice and do it again here. You can see on the left side of your screen there on the Aviators bench, that's Luke Nicholson dealing with a back injury. He's out for this one. That's why we got Jace Kulak right here in front of us playing wing. Normally a defenseman with 5 defensemen. One back by Moorhead to go DDD. Now DDD again. They set up the far side. That's off a stick. Jackson feeds it back out in the neutral zone. That bounces over the Moorhead defender's stick down in on net, actually. He'll count it as a shot. Knocked away there by Daxon. Picked up by Kulak. Backhands one down below the goal line. Fargo chases after it. Kulak steals it away. He turns, fires. Goaltender had to make a tough save on there. I don't think he was ready for that one. Did get a leg pad on it, though, and Moorhead feeds it out into the neutral zone. Moorhead down the near side. Drops it off. They work it to the middle. Now to the far side. Shots sent on. That one's through traffic. Missed the net. Comes out to the blue line, but kept in by Moorhead. The backhand one down the wall. Comes to Henderson. Henderson with it. Spins away from one. Gets it up to Fargo. He lost the handle on it. Moorhead pushes it back down in the corner. They feed it out front. Shot tipped. Couldn't quite get it on net, though. Henderson skates up, gives it over to Fargo. Moorhead trying to keep this one in. It'll come out in the neutral zone, but they get control of it. Moorhead with it. They bring it in. They work it to the middle. Shot sent on. That one whistles by the net. Picked up by Fargo. He's got some space in front of him as Moorhead went for a change, but they close quickly. Trying to get this one in. Henderson just dumps it down in. This will come all the way around. Wyatt's going to try to get there first. Moorhead pokes it past him. They chip it out into the neutral zone. Picked up by Kulak. Kulak sends it back in. Offside zone. We'll get a face-off just outside the Moorhead end. Fiala line comes out for the Aviators. Got Jordy Schauer and Ryder Blackie with him. Easton Green and Benson Baum on defense. Moorhead wins that one back. Brought over to the near side. They chip it up to the blue line. I'll come out into the neutral zone. Jumps over Easton's stick down into the Aviators' end. Benson comes over to cover. We lose control. Moorhead steals this one away. They feed it up front. That goes through everybody out to the blue line. Shot attempt lift on. They come over to the near side. Picked up by Benson. Benson goes down blue goal line, spins away from one Moorhead player. They feed it back out. It comes out to the blue line, but it can't keep it in. They'll have to regroup in the neutral zone. Moorhead sends it in, but a little bit early there. As you see the ref calling off sides. We'll get a face-off on the far side of the ice in front of the Moorhead bench. 15:25 to go here, second period. Aviators still leading 2-1. Fiala to take the face-off. Wins this one back. Comes to Easton Green. He chips one up the wall, gets it up to Fiala. Fiala gets it over the red line, dumps it down in the Moorhead end. They'll chase after it. It'll be Shower and Fiala down there. Blasky comes over. Moorhead's able to chip it up the wall, and out into the neutral zone they'll come. Down the near side, they bring it into the zone. Sent back down below the goal line. Picked up by Benson on the far side. He tries to feed it up to Shower. Fiala and Benson in there battling for it. Puck along the boards. Moorhead will come away with it. Trying to bring it out front. Benson did a nice job of lifting the stick there, got it away. Moorhead trying to keep this one in. Looks like they will, but Jordy was able to push it out. Now Blasky trying to steal it away. Onto the stick of Shower. Shower feeds it down into the Moorhead end. Moorhead gets on it first. They go behind their own net. Send it off the wall. It goes off a Moorhead stick. This one will end up going down for icing. Arm up. And we get a whistle. And we'll get a face-off back down in the Aviators end. Or excuse me, in the Moorhead end. So Seffi's line will come out. You'll have Caden Yana here on the left side. Owen Berg on the right. And Charlie on defense. One back by Moorhead. Yana trying to steal this one, but Moorhead gets there first. They're going to ring it around the glass. This one will come up out into the neutral zone. Off the mark, though. Charlie will pick it up. He gets it over the red line, chips it back down in the Moorhead end. Moorhead grabs this one. Going to go D to D. Off a stick, up and over the coaches' heads. Once again, they've been on the ball here. A couple of times they've had to duck out of the way. Knocking down the coffee cup up on the beam there behind Coach Blasky. Seffi to take the face off here. Push forward, picked up by Berg. Berg overskated that one. Chipped that out of play again. That one hit Mason Fiala on the bench. So we'll just reset and do it again. Coach is trying to get it down in the Moorhead end as it went off a Moorhead stick, not a play, but Moorhead wins this face-off back. They send it up the near side. That goes off a stick. Yana sends it back down in the Moorhead end. Actually went off a Moorhead player, stayed out of the zone. Comes loose, back to Daxon. Daxon takes a look, lost the handle on that one. Poked away from him. Opportunity for Moorhead here. Trying to settle this puck down. It comes to Charlie. He gets spun off the puck. Down into the corner he goes. Now Seffi gets knocked down. Fed out to the point. Nice job by Yana. Pokes that one away. Berg sends it back down into the Moorhead end. Moorhead will get on this one first. They go behind the net. Yana trying to steal this one away. It looks like he poked it away, but Moorhead's still with it. Up the sidewall. They feed it to the middle. Backhanded out. Jackson comes over to steal that one away. Picked up by Berg. He gets knocked down hard in front of the Moorhead bench. Arm goes up, though. Daxon with control of the puck. Power play coming here for the Aviators. Daxon trying to get through a couple defensemen, but we finally get touched by Moorhead, and the Aviators will go back on the power play. A face-off coming in the Moorhead end here. Looks like a roughing call on Moorhead. There's a little bit of a weird thing at this age is you can check, obviously, but the player has to be basically contacting the puck or playing the puck while making the contact for the hit. That's a little bit of a gray area sometimes as the player's around the puck but not really actually playing the puck, so they like to call it roughing or interference sometimes, depending on the ref and his discretion, I guess. But you're going to see that sometimes with different refs. Either way, Moorhead sends this one down. Looks like it's going to roll just past Dom, go for icing, and we'll go back down to the Moorhead end for a face-off. Aviators on the power play here. Can't quite get control of the puck. Haven't really been able to set it up quite yet. But out comes the Fiala line. They have both goals for the Aviators. Benson and Charlie on defense. Moorhead wins control off the face-off here. Charlie comes over, tries to steal that one away, but Moorhead gets control. Working on Benson, trying to get around him. Shot sent on, beats Dom in the back of the net, make it 2-2. Got Dom moving side to side, shot it backside, snuck it just inside the post on the low side, then make it 2-2. Shorthanded goal for the Spuds. And we're all tied up here with 12:31 left in the second period. Still a minute 20 left on the power play here. Aviators still with the man advantage. Face off, one back by Moorhead, but pushed forward here by Fiala. He's going to chase after it. He'll get there first down below the goal line. Hands it off to Blasky. Blasky behind the net. Benson slides up. Blasky likes to shoot. That goes off the stick, goes wide. Picked up there Fiala. He feeds it out to the point. Now the Aviators setting things up. Fiala off the sidewall. He sends it around. This one will come loose over to Shower. Shower feeds it back to Benson. Benson takes a look. Shot. That goes off a leg pad. Nice pass there by Charlie. Finds Jordy on the backside, but he whiffed on it just a little bit. It rolls in on the goaltender. He covers it up, and we'll get a face-off. Good vision there by Charlie, seeing Jordy all alone on the backside, but Jordy couldn't quite fire that puck like he wanted to. Face-off, one back by Moorhead. It comes loose out to Benson. He sends it down in below the goal line, picked up by Blasky. Blasky with it now. Takes a look, turns, fires, whiffs on that one. It'll come loose out into the neutral zone. Oh, that was not offsides. It looked like it was clearly offsides from here. Jordy with it, trying to slip through a couple Moorhead players, and Moorhead's able to steal this one and chip it out. Benson retreats into his own zone, picks it up. Slips around one Moorhead player. With some speed, skates this one into the Moorhead end. Cuts to the middle, shot sent on. That knocks the stick out of the goaltender's hands. Goalie without a stick. Here's Fiala trying to get a shot off. Battle on the backside. You hear some cheering going on. Jordy was getting tackled by a player on the backside. He'll come back out. Henderson with it. He'll skate up the right side. He gets tripped up by the player coming out of the box. We're back to 5-on-5. Henderson, shot sent on. He loses an edge into the goaltender, knocks the net off, and we get a whistle. Pace starting to pick up now. We'll get a face-off on the near side here in the Aviators end. Actually, we're going to move this one out in to the neutral zone. It'll be just outside the Moorhead end. They're saying that, obviously, that Henderson knocked it off was the reason the net came dislodged. So we move out into the neutral zone. Seffi's line comes out for the Aviators. One back by Moorhead. Off the stick, picked up by Berg. Berg feeds it up to Seffi. Seffi tried to get a shot off. Chips it over to the near side for Yana. Yana send up the sidewall. Henderson trying to keep this one in. It'll come out down into the Aviators end. Picked up by Berg. He turns, fires one up, gets it over to Yana. Yana brings it in. He's all alone, slowing things down, trying to wait for the cavalry to arrive. Berg with it. Backhands one back into the Moorhead end. Moorhead with control. They work it up the near side. Sent through the middle. Picked away by Berg. Now Yana. Yana knocked off of his stick. Picked up by Berg. He'll bring it into the Moorhead end down the right side. Shots it on. Knuckle puck there. Moorhead goalie had to fight that one off, but gets a glove on it, holds on, and we're going to face off. Oh, 10-16 remaining here, second period. 2-2 hockey game. Aviators leading on the shot department, 15-9. Had a couple opportunities on the power play. Haven't been able to score on one quite yet. Fargo won the face-off, but Moorhead gathers it up, and back they come. 2-on-3. Trying to get around east. Forces them into the corner. Moorhead with control. They feed it over to the far side, out to the point. Backs up. Shot attempt. Dom with a big glove save. Keeps that one out of the back of the net. And we're going to face off in the Aviators' end. Opportunity there for Moorhead. Had a wide open net. Player couldn't quite get the shot off right away. He would have had a lot to shoot on, but Dom was able to slide over and get a glove on that one. And we get a face off. Mason Fargo take the face off. He's got Kulak and Wyatt by with him. Moorhead goes D to D. They keep it in. They send it down the far side. It goes down below the goal line. Picked up by Mason Fargo. He chips it up the wall. Gets it to Kulak. Kulak trying to chip this one up. Tied up along the wall. Moorhead gathers it up. Spins away from one player. Chips it down the sidewall. Back comes Fargo trying to get control of this. Shot through traffic. Gets stopped by a Moorhead stick. Picked up by Easton. He chips up the wall. Gets to Kulak. Kulak through the middle. Gets it to Fargo. Fargo brings it in, trying to get through the defense, slips around, gets a shot off goaltender, makes a big save. What a move there by Mason Fargo. Here's Benson with it. Lost control of it. Moorhead gets control. Kulak knocks away. They keep it in the Moorhead end for a moment. Looks like it'll come out in the neutral zone. Moorhead asking for a tripping call there, but no go. Moorhead shots in on. Goaltender Dom makes the save, and we'll get a face-off. Action really picking up now here between the Aviators and the Spuds. Out comes the Fiala line for the Aviators. He's got Blasky and Schauer with him. Norby and Miedema on defense. 9:25 remaining here, second period. Face off, one back, picked up by Miedema. He chips up the wall, trying to get this one out, but Moorhead will gain it. Control behind the net. They go short side. Stuff attempt. Dom gets a glove on it, holds on, and we'll get a face off. Nifty little play there by Moorhead. Trying to get Dom moving. Slipped it back short side, but he respected the net. Kept that one out, and we'll get a face off. Fiala to take the face off for the Aviators. One back by Moorhead. They chip and send it down below the goal line. It rings around to the far side. Jordy Schauer comes down to help out. Now picked up by Daxon. Skates this one forward. He gets bumped off the pucks. Gathers it up. Chips it forward. Gets it to Fiala. Fiala trying to slip around one. Now back to Daxon. Daxon backhands one. Gets it to Fiala. Fiala shots in on. Goaltender kicks that one out. Rebound comes out to the blue line. Miedema, smart play, steps up, knocks that one away, and Fiala dumps it back in. Moorhead with it behind their own net. Turns, goes the other way. Stretch pass through here. Comes loose. Here's an opportunity for Moorhead. A little bit too far. It'll go down into the corner. Daxon hurries up to get down there. He tries to chip it. Gets it up to Schauer. Now comes loose to Blasky. Blasky over to Schauer. Schauer down the far side. Gets it poked off of his stick. Moorhead has an opportunity here. 3-on-2. Back they come. Working it to the right side. They drop it off for the trailer. He slips around one man shot. Finds the back of the net. And the Moorhead Spuds take their first lead of the game here. 3-2 with 9:14 remaining in the second period. Both teams picking up the pace now, but it's Moorhead who's found the back of the net here in the second period and taking their first lead of the game. Seffi to take the face off for the Aviators. Moorhead wins it back. Berg steals it away though. Moorhead with control. Stolen away by Berg here. He's in the high slot trying to get a shot off. Whiffed on that one. Yana trying to pick it up, and Moorhead gets control, and they'll work it back out in the neutral zone. Working on Easton. Gets it down low. They feed it across. Nicely defended there by Henderson. He'll gather his puck up, skate it forward out in the neutral zone. Gets through a couple Moorhead defenders, lost the puck. Battling to get it back though in the corner. Finally gets it loose, gets it over to Yana, but it went off of his stick, and Moorhead gathers up, gets it out the neutral zone. Seffi steals it away. She chips it back into the Moorhead end, but they send it right back out in the neutral zone. Comes the Easton Green. He chips it out. That one will be sent to the blue line, but offsides on Moorhead, and we'll get a face-off just outside the Aviators' end. So a 3-2 lead here for Moorhead. 9:07 to go, second period. Gap on the shot starting to close up as it's now 16-14 lead for the Aviators. One back here by Moorhead. They feed it up the wall, in they come, 3-on-2. They send it to the middle, now down the short side. Shots it on, Dom makes a save on that one. Moorhead with control again. They feed it out to the point. Shot through traffic. That gets blocked by Benson. Down into the corner. Picked up by Moorhead. Spins away from Fargo. They send it down low. Benson's going to chase after this one behind his own net. Picks it up. Takes a look. Tried to chip and go around. Miedema tries to feed it up. Now over to the sidewall. Fargo down there trying to battle for this one. Kulak in there as well, and Miedema. Looks like it comes loose. Fargo still battling for it. It's tied up once again, but Miedema pushes it forward, gets Kulak. Kulak feeds it through the middle, gets it over to wide by. Off of his stick, though, and Moorhead gets control again. They send it over the near side. Picked away by Mason Fargo off a skate here. Pinballing around. Moorhead gets control. They feed it forward. Into the zone they come, trying to get around Miedema. Shot sent on. That one behind the net. Moorhead gets on it first. They send it down low by Benson. We won't even chase after that one as there's an icing call, and we'll get a face-off back down in the A's end. .756 to go here, second period, 3-2 lead for the Spuds. It's the first one of the game. Aviators had a 2-0 lead. But the Spuds with 3 unanswered have answered back. Moorhead with control in their own zone. There's a high sticking call that should have been called, but Aviators got away with one there. Dexon with a couple missed ones. That would have led to a power play for the Spuds. But either way, we play on. .727 remaining here. They say that was not offside. Fed through the middle, off a stick. Another attempt, gets blocked, picked up by Schauer, far side. Feeds it through the middle, it's to Blasky. Blasky slips around one defender. Working on another, try to feed it to the middle of Dexon, who was streaking, but couldn't get it past the defender's skate. Here's Easton, the lone man back. Nice job by Fiala to help out. Moorhead gets control. They feed it to the middle. That goes off a skate, comes to the near side to Blasky. Blasky feeds him, trying to hit Schauer, put it in front of him a little bit. Brought back in by the Aviators. Picked up by the Spuds behind their own net. Red stick down into the zone, so no icing. Easton Green in the corner. Gets hit still with control here. Him and Seffi battling a couple Moorhead players. Looks like Moorhead will get control. Seffi trying to steal this one back. Doing a nice job of sealing off the wall here. Picked up by Benson. Benson with it. He's got some space. He's going to skate this one up. Feeds it over to Yanni. Yanni takes a look. Works to the middle. Yanni backhands one down in the corner. Thought Benson was going to go after it, but Benson retreats back to his defenseman post. He keeps it in, sends it back down into the corner. Moorhead with control. Picked off here by Berg. Berg feeds it out front. Came to Yanni. Yanni couldn't pull the trigger on that one. Moorhead steals it back. Once again, Berg steals it. Sends it down below the goal line. Moorhead with it. Sent over to the near side. Yanni's going to get there. Poked forward by Moorhead, though, and they'll work this one out into the neutral zone. Down into the Aviators' end. Working on Easton. Gets through the defense. Shots in on that one. Whistles wide. Picked up by Yana. Out to the point, but not out. That one sent in. Dom kicks it into the far corner. Benson picks this one up. Skates it forward, but couldn't quite get that one out. Because they got swallowed up by a couple players coming off the bench from Moorhead. Here's Seffi. Had her pocket picked. Brought in. Shots in on. Dom makes a save on that one. A couple players fall down out in front. Moorhead gathers it up in the corner. They have control along the far side. Bird comes over. Big hit there. There's an arm goes up for the Aviators. A couple extra punches there from a Moorhead player. We'll see if we'll take them both. I think it'll be just the one. A little bit from behind. We'll probably see a boarding call here. Roughing. Either way, so Moorhead going on a power play. 5:01 to go here. Second period, Moorhead with a 1-goal lead. They'll have the man advantage here. As we'll see Mason Fargo come out with Jace Kulak as the forward. Miedema and Daxon as the defenseman. Daxon gathers it up. Fargo jumps on that one. He dumps it down. We got an icing call, so we'll just reset back down in the Aviators' end. Oh, Moorhead leading in the shot department now as they lead 18-17. Minute 55 still to go on this power play. Face off one over to the side wall. Daxon trying to get it. Here's Moorhead with an opportunity. Feeds it out front. Daxon defends that one, pushes into the corner. He gathers this one up. Feeds it to the middle. That goes off a couple Moorhead sticks and all the way down the ice. So no icing on this one. Moorhead will gather it up behind their own net. Mason Fargo applying a little bit of pressure. Moorhead slowing things down, trying to set things up. They skate up the near side here. Poked away by Kulak. Moorhead gets control of it in the corner though. They feed out front. That splits a couple players. Race for this one down the ice. Fargo trying to get there. Kulak trying to race there as well. Fargo's shot goes just wide, comes back on the neutral zone. Here's an odd man rush, 4-on-2 for Moorhead. They misplay it though. It goes down in the corner. Daxon gets on it first. Goes on behind his own net, spins away from one check. Fed out front, wide open player. Net's off, but they'll stop the play as Moorhead put one in the back of the net, but the net was off. So we'll stay 3-2, still 58 seconds to go on the power play. That'll be Mason Fiala and Ryder Blasky forwards. Henderson and Green on defense. Bouncing puck off the face-off here. Moorhead will gather up in the corner. Knocked away by Green. Green chips one off the wall. He'll gather up far side. He skates it up, sends it off the wall. That goes off a Moorhead stick. They send it over to the near side. They'll bring it right back into the zone. Nice job by Fiala. Steals that one away, but gets it out to the blue line, but not out. Moorhead with it at the top of the point. They feed it over to the sidewall. They send it back. Shot sent on into the glove of Dom. Holds on. We'll get a face-off. Oh, 32 seconds to go here in the second period. Moorhead lead 3-2. Fiala takes a face-off. Moorhead wins it back to the point. Turns, shot through traffic into the belly of Dom. Puck loose, still loose. Looks like he has it underneath his glove, and we get a quick whistle. And a face-off coming on the far side again in the Aviators' end here. Looks like the Aviators will change out their defensemen. Now comes Benson and Charlie. 25 seconds to go on this penalty kill for the Aviators. Face-off controlled here by Fiala. He's going to chip this one out. Moorhead retreats back into their zone to pick this one up. Blasky putting on a little bit of pressure. Moorhead was controlling the neutral zone now. Over to the red line, brings it into the Aviators' end. Offsides though. And we'll reset back out in the neutral zone. Caden Yano will come out. And Seffi as well. For the Aviators on as forwards. 10 seconds to go on the penalty kill. Yana to take the face off. You'll see Yana and Seffi switch off. They're on the same line, but they switch off who takes the draw sometimes. Not sure what the reasoning for it is, but I'm sure they have their reasons. It seems to work out sometime. The puck comes to the middle here. Nice job by Yana to steal that one away. Now back to 5-on-5, picked up by Berg. He brings it on the left side, tries to slip around the defense, gets sealed off there. He gets control in the corner, gets bumped off the puck. Still with it though, now Seffi grabs it. Seffi feeds it through the middle, gets it to Yana. Yana feeds it out to the point, comes to Benson. Benson through traffic. That didn't make it to the net. Yana got dumped on the near side. He'll get on the puck though. He feeds it up the wall, comes to Miedema. Miedema down the sidewall, feeds it to Yana. Yana sends it up front. Miedema shooting to the net. Came to him, but he couldn't quite get a shot off. Now he's tied up in the far corner. Moorhead steals that away. Nice job by Benson sliding over. He'll keep this puck in the zone. Down the left side, works it to the middle. Shot sent on, but right into the stomach of the goaltender. And we'll get a face-off. Aviators showing a burst of energy there. 2:15 to go here, second period. Aviators still trailing by one. It's 3-2 Moorhead at this point. Shots showing in favor of Moorhead, 21-18. We'll see the Mason Fargo line come out. He'll be the centering Jace Kulak and Wyatt By. Henderson and Norby on defense. Bouncing puck. Moorhead gathers it up. They're going to chip this one on high off the glass down into the Aviators' end. Race for this one. Daxon trying to get there first. He sends it off the back of the net. Gathers it back up again. chips it through the middle. That one off a skate. It will come out into the neutral zone. Moorhead will get control. They send it up the far side. Nicely defended there by Wyatt but picked up by Moorhead. They bring it right back in the zone. It's knocked off the stick by Henderson. Shot attempt by Moorhead, whiffed on. They get control of it again. Shot sent on. That one goes hard off the glass, bouncing. Puck comes up the near side wall. Be picked up by Henderson. Henderson down the near side with some speed. Brings it in the zone. Works to the middle. Slips around with the defenseman. Trying to gather it up. Here's Fargo. Feeds it down to Wyatt. Wyatt trying to get it back to Henderson. It'll come up the side wall. Henderson will come back to grab this up along the wall. Off of his stick down in the corner. Gets control. Taken away by Mason Fargo. Feeds it up front. Wyatt couldn't quite get a stick on that. Puck comes out to the point. Here's Benson. Hard slap shot. Tipped out front by Fargo. Fargo trying to bounce one off the back end of the goaltender. But he's able to get a glove on. Holds on, and we'll get a face-off. So Aviators here with a little jump in the last few minutes. Controlling play a little bit. Getting the better of the chances. Getting creative, seeing some things that they don't normally do, which is nice to see. Fiala line will be out there for the Aviators. Mason to take the face off. He's got Jordy to his right, Ryder to his left. Benson and Easton on defense. Push forward here by Mason. He gathers it up, lost control of it though. Benson trying to poke this in. Easton the lone man back. Here's a 3-on-1 opportunity for Moorhead. Brought in, shots in on, glove save there by Dom, holds on, and we'll get a face off. About a minute to play here in the second period. Face off, far side, Aviators end. Mason Fiala take the face off. Face off, one back by Moorhead, splits the D, comes in the neutral zone. Moorhead stretch pass, comes near side, Easton gathers it up, chips it up the wall, out into the neutral zone again. Moorhead has to regroup. They chip it up, comes back to Easton in his own zone. He goes off the glass, gets it up to Fiala, but Moorhead steals that one away. Sent through the neutral zone. All the way down. We'll get an icing call. Clock hasn't started in the last 30 seconds or so. Now it starts and we're not even playing. They're volunteers, folks. Just take it easy on them. Looks like the ref is talking to him. We'll see how much time he decides to take off of it. Or maybe he'll leave it alone. 58 seconds shows on the board. Looks like we'll leave it as is. Everybody's looking up at the board. Maybe we will run some time off. Resetting the clock. Looks like we'll go to a minute and 2 seconds. Well, sent down into the corner. Picked up by Fiala. Taken away by Moorhead. They have control. Out to the point. Shot through traffic. That hit somebody up front. Down goes a Moorhead player. Looks like that stung a little bit. Picked up by Shower. He slips one check. Gets to the middle. Gets it to Fiala. But a penalty coming here. Interference, I believe. Looks like it'll be on Benson, so Aviators going back on the penalty kill. Not what the Aviators want at this point of the game. 44 seconds to go in the second period. 2-minute penalty up on the board. 5-on-4 power play opportunity for the Spuds. They lead by 1. Looks like it'll be Caden and Seffi as the forwards. Charlie and Daxon as defenseman. One back by Moorhead. They feed it over to the near side. Slow things down. Feed it out to the top of the point. Out on the left side. Back out to the point. D to D. Once again, trying to set up number 2 with a shot. Skates it in. Finds it back door. Puck still loose. Comes in on Dom. He gets a pad down. Moorhead has control. Shots in on. That one rings off the post on the far side. Comes out to the point again. Power play here for Moorhead. They feed it up the sidewall. Shots it on. Glove by Dom. Holds on. We'll get a face off. 6 seconds to play here. Second period. Be a tough goal to give up right now, as those seconds should have ticked off earlier when we had a little clock issue. This period would have been over. And some more seconds after the penalty, but either way, 6 seconds to go, second period. Kulak to take the face off. One back by Moorhead, comes to the point. Tied up along the side wall, comes loose. Moorhead shots in on. Dom makes the save on that one. Pushed away by Henderson. That's the end of the second period. So, third period upcoming. Moorhead with a 1-goal lead. They lead 3-2. They'll start the third period with a power play of about a minute 16 still left to go. The Aviators showing some flashes of big-time playmaking ability that we haven't seen for quite some time. They had some opportunities early in the season where they really moved the puck around, and then obviously ran into some really good teams similar to this Moorhead team. Couldn't quite get the puck moving around, but whatever they've been working on in practice seems to be working. Shots showing in favor of Moorhead, 23-18 after 2 periods. Aviators, they can kill this penalty off to start the third period. That'd be a big momentum boost if they can get out of this without giving up one. They got some work to do. They do need to kill the penalty, then eventually score the game tying goal, and then they can work on winning the game after that, but they need to focus on 1 goal at a time. See the coaches over there talking to the team, figuring out what they want to do here to start the third period. Well, first things first, Aviators kill a minute 16 of power play time for the Spuds. Then work on tying this game up. All right, here we go. Players out on the ice. Looks like it'll be Kulak at center for the Aviators here on the penalty kill. Berg with him to his left. Nick Henderson and Charlie Miedema on defense. 17 minutes up on the board. We're underway. Third period, penalty kill for the Aviators. Picked up by Charlie. Feeds this one up the glass, down to the Moorhead end. Kulak trying to steal this one away. Down he goes. He gets control of it. Almost couldn't. Tried to get a shot off there. Stolen away by Berg. Now off of his stick. Moorhead has it, and they'll skate it down the ice. On the far side into the Aviators' end. Henderson trying to seal him off. Does a nice job, steals that puck away. Now it's on the stick of Owen Berg. He tries to feed up to Kulak. Couldn't quite get that one out of the zone. Back to Henderson. Henderson kicks it back down into the corner. Picked up by Miedema. Miedema sends one off the glass. Comes out to the point. Moorhead with control. They feed it to the top. They work it down. Now D to D. Shots in on. Kicked away by Dom. Picked up by Moorhead. Feeds it to the middle. Lost control of the puck there. Berg's able to clear it down into the Moorhead end. He'll chase after this. Put a little bit of pressure on. About 25 seconds to go on the power play here for Moorhead. They work it over the red line. Now down into the Aviators' end. They slow things down. Taken away by Berg, though. He's going to chip this one off the wall to the far side. Go for a change. Moorhead will gather this one up. Stretch pass here to the far side for Moorhead. They bring it into the Aviators' end. Now on the slot. Sent over. Dom makes the glove save. Puck loose. Rebound goal. It was 5-on-5, or excuse me, that is a power play goal for the Aviators, or not for the Aviators, for the Spuds. Benson was just about to come out. And it's a 2-goal lead as it's 4-2 now, Moorhead, early in this third period. I think Dom thought he had him, made the second save. There was a first rebound, thought he had it, but it leaked out a little bit. Moorhead finds the back of the net to take a 2-goal lead here in the third period. Picked up by Easton. He brings it in the blue line. Shot sent on. Off a stick, goes wide. Moorhead trying to dig this one off the wall. They send it up to the point, but kept in by Shower. Shower shot. That gets blocked. Comes over to Blasky along the far side wall. He dumps it down into the corner. Moorhead pushes it down below the line. It picked up by Fiala. Fiala takes a look, slips around one, loses the handle on that one. Moorhead gathers it up, and they'll chip it out. Here's a 2-on-1 opportunity for Moorhead. Shots in on, glove save there by Dom, goes into the corner. Puck loose, Benson trying to get it out. Gets it out in the neutral zone. Moorhead gets control. They send it over D to D. Now back up into the blue line and brought into the zone. Puck loose, shots in on. Dom makes the save on that one. Picked up by Fiala. Fiala rings it around. That one gets past the defenseman. Arm goes up. And we get an icing call on the Aviator, so we'll reset back down in the Aviator's end for a face-off. Oh, Moorhead starting to extend that shot lead as it's 27-18. They lead by 2 goals. It's 4-2 here in the third period. 14:48 remaining third period. Fargo line out there for the Aviators. Moorhead will push this one down into the corner. They'll gather it up behind the net here. Sent out front. That goes off the skate. Comes out of the point. Sent through traffic. Dom makes the save on that one. Daxon trying to clear this one out into the corner. Feeds it up to Wyatt. Wyatt with it. Knocked off of his stick. Moorhead gathers it up again in the neutral zone. Misplayed there. Kulak tried to steal it away. It'll come back out in the neutral zone. On the Daxon stick, he gets it taken away from him. Sent to the middle. There's a shot sent on. Dom makes a save on that one. Picked up by Fiala. Feeds it up. Gets it to Kulak. He's got Wyatt over here on the near side. Mason trailing. Kulak sends it off the wall. Slows things down. Sends it out to the point. Comes to Charlie. Charlie feeds it over to Daxon. Daxon sends a shot on. That got blocked by Fargo out front, battle for it, but the goaltender gets a glove on it, holds on, and we'll get a face-off. High shot by Daxon there from the point, hit Mason Fargo in the chest. Puck dropped down. Fargo's trying to get a stick on it, but tied up. The goaltender elected to cover it up. So that'll lead to the face-off here. Yana to take the face-off. He's got Seffi to his left, Berg to his right. Moorhead wins it back. They send one off the glass, comes out to the point. Henderson tried to defend it, but it comes out in the neutral zone. Easton Green, the lone man back. Moorhead shots in on. Big save there by Dom. Picked up by Seffi. She'll gather it up, go behind her own net. Takes a look. Cuts it to the far side with some speed. Brings in his zone. Works on trying to get through a few Moorhead players. Lost the handle on that one. Moorhead are gathered up along the wall. They chip it out to the point, but not out. Berg backhands one back down to Yana. Yana sends one off the glass down. It rides the boards, ends up behind the net here. Yana trying to steal it away again in the corner. He gets knocked down, picked up by Berg. He has control. He gets knocked down. Slew foot kicked out from underneath his feet. Arm goes up. Penalty coming to Moorhead. We'll see a tripping call here on Moorhead. Power play opportunity for the Aviators. Out come the Fiala line. 2 minutes up on the board. Big spot here for the Aviators. They need to score on this power play. Cut this lead back down to 1. One back to the point. Charlie sends it over to Benson. Benson shots it on. Nobody out front though. Charlie tries to keep this one in, send up the wall, comes loose, out to Shower in the high slot, knocked off his stick. Moorhead will skate out in the neutral zone. Charlie gathers this up, turns, takes a look, sends it to the middle. That splits everybody. Fiala's going to chase after this one down in Moorhead end, trying to get around the defenseman. Comes up the wall, gets it to Shower, gets knocked off of his stick out of the neutral zone. He gets taken down, no call on that one. Picked up by Benson. He sends it over to Charlie. Charlie sends it over the near side, went off of Fiala's stick. Moorhead gathers up, sends it down into the Aviators' end. Dom pushes it into the corner, picked up by Benson. 1:15 to go on the power play. Benson down the far side. He'll skate this one forward. Tries to cut it to the middle, got knocked off of his stick. Now off of Shower's stick. Backing it up the wall, but sealed off by Benson. But looks like a penalty coming here on the Aviators. Benson slams his stick there in frustration. So that'll even things up 4-on-4 here. The next 1:04 seconds. Well, 12:19 remaining third period. Each team with a penalty or a guy in the box at the moment. It's a 4-on-4. This one back. It'll split the D. It comes out of the neutral zone. Henderson putting the pressure on, but Moorhead goes D to D. Now they stretch it over to the far side. Backhanded down into the zone. It'll be picked up by Henderson behind his own net. Bouncing puck on him. Couldn't quite get the handle on it. Gets it back. Feeds it up to Kulak at the blue line. He got caught up by the ref. Loose puck picked up here by Henderson. He'll skate this one forward. Henderson brings it into the zone. Gets knocked off the puck here. Moorhead gathers it up. Out of the zone they come. But nice job by Fargo. Comes back to help out. Daxton's going to gather this one up in front of his own net. Backhands it out to the blue line, but not out. Moorhead pushes it down deeper into the zone. Picked up by Kulak behind his own net. Feeds it up to Henderson. Henderson tried to feed it up. Now it's picked up by Daxton. He skates this one up down the far side. Slows things up. Tried to leave it off for Fargo. Moorhead takes away and back they come. Miedema defending. Shots in on. Dumb gloves that one. Holds on and we'll get a face off. So 8 seconds left on that original penalty to Moorhead. Then they'll have about 58 seconds of power play time when he comes out of the box. 11:23 here, third period, 4-2 hockey game. Wyatt takes the face-off, gets it over to Owen Berg. He skates this one forward. All alone, slows things up, hands it off to Wyatt. Wyatt into the corner, feeds it back to Berg. Shot sit on, goaltender makes the save. Nice little play there set up by Owen and Wyatt. Getting a shot off. Goaltender makes the save though, so now Moorhead's out of the box. It's a 5-on-4 power play for Moorhead. 52 seconds left to go. Wyatt will take the face off again for the Aviators. He had control of it. Got it knocked off of his stick. Moorhead will skate this one out. Easton trying to defend along the wall here. Chipped out by Owen. That'll come all the way in on the goaltender. He leaves it off for his defenseman. Sent up the near side. Nice job by Berg. Knocks that one away. Moorhead gets it back, though. They bring it into the zone. Down into the corner. Shots it on. Dom makes a save. Sent out front. That's through a maze of players. Shots it on into the glove. Dom holds on, and we'll get a face-off. A little bit of pushing and shoving out front. Ref slows or stops that, though. Looks like cooler heads prevail. We won't see any penalties here. 21 seconds still left on the power play here for Moorhead. Caden Yana. Seffi out there for Aviators on forward. Looks like it'll be Charlie and Jace. I guess Jace is out there as well as a forward because when this penalty ends, Benson will probably just head straight out on the ice. So that one gets sent all the way down. Moorhead with control in their own zone. They send it through the middle. Down in the Aviators' end. Working on Charlie. Drops it off. Tried to chip it through the middle. Taken away by Yana, but not out. Here comes Berg off the bench. Looks like Kulak will... Oh, big penalty there in center ice. Seffi got her clock cleaned a little bit. Arm goes up. Looks like she's all right, though. But a power play opportunity again for the Aviators. A roughing call there on Moorhead. We'll get a face-off on the near side here in the Moorhead end. We were back to 5-on-5. But Moorhead takes a penalty, gives the Aviators a power play opportunity. They still trail by 2. We got 10 minutes, 3 seconds left to go here in the third period. Caden Yana take the face-off. Berg to his right, Seffi to his left. Henderson and Miedema on defense. Tied up. Moorhead gets control. They go behind their own net. They'll send this one high off the glass. Comes out to the point. Miedema tried to keep it in. He backhands one over to Henderson. Henderson sends one back to Miedema. Miedema chips one down into the corner. Seffi will chase after it. Same with Charlie. This one gets sent up the wall. Berg trying to steal it away. Comes out to the point. Jumped over Henderson's stick. Comes out in the neutral zone. Yana tries to get there. Moorhead beats him to it. Out of the corner. Works it behind the net. They feed it out front. Picked up by Charlie. Charlie backhands one over to Seffi. Seffi with it. Brings it into the zone. Got it knocked off of her stick. Yana trying to keep this one in right at the blue line. It's picked up by Berg. Berg trying to get through a maze of Moorhead players, he gets wrapped up a little bit with control of it, feeds it back to Daxon. Daxon, one-timers, one now goes well wide. Over the far side, Yana trying to steal this one. Tied up along the wall, kicks it loose to Berg. Berg feeds it out to the point, comes to Daxon, actually taken away by Fiala there. He gets it stolen away, and Moorhead feeds it out into the neutral zone. On the Daxon stick, he feeds it over to Benson. Benson has to slow up, wait for Yana to get onside. Yana trying to feed up to Shower. That was a little in front of him, and regained control by Moorhead. About 40 seconds to play here. Daxon with it. He's going to skate this one forward. Gets a shot off. Goaltender makes a glove save, holds on. We're going to face off. With 35 seconds left on the power play for the Aviators. 8:37 to go. Third period, Moorhead leads this one 4-2. The Aviators were up 2-0 at one point in that first period, but Moorhead, 4 unanswered goals, have taken the lead and held it for quite some time now. Benson trying to get a shot off, pulled away by Moorhead. Back they come. Benson trying to hurry to get back. Moorhead still with control. Behind the net. Picked up by Benson. Dom was trying to cover that one up. Benson took it away. He'll skate this one forward. Trying to get it around a couple of Moorhead players. Feeds it up to Blasky far side. Blasky tried to get a shot off lift on that one. Moorhead trying to chip it out. Looks like it'll bring it out in the neutral zone. They'll elect to just dump it down as the numbers were not in their favor. Daxon will get there first. Daxon with it once again. He sends one, rings it around to the far side, comes out to the blue line. Moorhead will keep it in. Big hit there by Blasky, whiffed on. He goes into the boards hard. Looks like he's fine though. Knocked away by Daxon. Control regained by Moorhead. Out to the point, shot sent on. Dom makes a glove save on that, holds on. The shot shown in favor here of Moorhead. 31-22. They were trailing for the first half of the game, but have come storming back. There's Henderson, goes behind his own net, backhands it up the wall, gets to Kulak. Kulak, quick pass, goes off a skate, comes back to Henderson. He skates this one forward, knocked off of his stick. Kulak just chips it down in the Moorhead end, trying to steal this one away. Moorhead's going to send it off the wall. Now to center, down into the Aviators' end. Henderson's going to try to gather this one up. Battle for it in the corner. Fargo behind the net. Spin around attempt there, trying to send it out front, gets stopped, comes out to the point for Moorhead, jumps over his stick actually into the neutral zone. Wyatt trying to put the pressure on. Moorhead sends it up the near side, misplayed. It'll come back to Henderson in his own zone. He'll send it to the far side over to Easton. Easton feeds it up the wall to Kulak. Kulak rings one to over here, and Wyatt just dumps one down in. Comes around to the far side of Kulak. He backhands one high up into the netting, and we get a whistle. 6:48 remaining here, third period. Aviators still down by 2. Looks like we're going to face off out in the neutral zone since it went on to play because of an Aviator. Seffi's going to take the face off here. She's got Yana to her left, Berg to her right. Yana brings him into the zone. Knocked off of his stick, down into the corner. Puck run around to the near side. Benson trying to keep that in. I'll come out in the neutral zone. Here's an opportunity for Moorhead. Far side. Off a skate. Taken away by Seppi. She'll skate this one back. She feeds it over to Yana. One over his stick. Down into the corner. He'll get after it. Slows things down the corner. Seppi comes over to help out. Sending up the wall. Miedema grabs it. He just pushes it back down below the goal line. Yana trying to get after it. He has it behind the net. Feeds one out front, but nobody home. Moorhead brings it on the neutral zone, back down into the Aviators' end. They were trying to get around Berg, sent through the middle. That's off the mark. It'll come to Yana. He backhands one off the wall, picked up by Benson. Benson brings it in. 2-on-2. He's got Owen with him, but lost an edge there, went down. Yana with control here, lost control of that one as well. He'll get it again in his blue line, hands it off to Fiala. Fiala brings it into Moorhead's end. Works it down into the corner, gets tied up, still battling for it. Puck comes loose, Moorhead will get control. Blasky trying to steal it away. Moorhead backhands one out front. Dangerous play there, but they gather it up. Comes loose to Fiala. He lost the handle on it. Goes off a skate. Comes out into the neutral zone. Moorhead with control. Into the Aviators' end. Trying to get around Daxon down the left side. Shots it on. That one went off the post. Picked up by Moorhead. They feed it out to the point. Puck bounced off their stick. Turnaround shot. That comes a stuff attempt there. Dom was able to get a leg down. Big hit by Benson, or maybe Fiala, I guess it was. Moorhead has control in their own zone. They send it over the near side. Daxon trying to poke this away. Moorhead dumps it down into the zone. Henderson goes behind his own net to pick it up. Tries to reverse it. Whiffed on that one a little bit. Daxon and Shower miscommunicated there, but Daxon with it hands it off to Shower. Shower to Daxon. Moorhead gets control and they push it back down below the goal line. Nice job by Henderson. Seals the player off along the boards there, but Moorhead still with control. They have the puck below the goal line. Trying to sneak it out. Henderson stole it away. Far side corner. Henderson has it. Backhands went out in the neutral zone. Under 4.5 minutes to play here in this third period. Avery still down by 2 goals. Moorhead works it to the middle. Trying to feed it back. That one sneaks all the way through. Dangerous. Now another attempt. That one off of Dom's helmet. Stays out behind the net here. Picked up by Fiala. He skates it down the left side. Sends one on net. Whistles just wide. White trying to steal this one away along the wall, but Moorhead chips it out in the neutral zone. Picked up by Kulak back in his own zone. Chips one through. That one off of Moorhead player. Kulak steals it right back. Brings it in. 1-on-5. Slows it down in the corner. Backhands one behind the net. Easton Fargo and Wyatt out there trying to help him out. Comes up to the point. Easton trying to keep it in. He gets thrown off the puck. Picked up by Kulak down the right side. Shots it on into the glove of the goaltender. And we'll get a face off here in the Moorhead end. 3:28 to go, third period. Aviators down by 2. Face off in the offensive zone. Mason Fargo take the face off. Kulak can buy with him. Benson and meet him on defense. One back by Moorhead. Stolen away by Kulak. Behind the net. He tries to feed up front. Comes loose to By. Off to his stick. Back to Miedema. Miedema down to Kulak. Kulak trying to feed By on the far side. Taken away by Moorhead. Comes right back to Kulak. He slips through a couple checks. Try to backhand it out to Benson. Jumps over his arm down into the Aviators' end, but nice job by Charlie. Gets back, gets up to Wyatt. Here's a 3-on-2 opportunity. Wyatt brings it down. Down into the corner. Turns, fires, tried to give it back to Kulak. Here's Benson. Shot. That one whistles just wide. That's off. I don't know if the ref realized it or not. Picked up by Charlie. Backhanded up the near side, trying to get to Benson. Moorhead pushes it back down to the Aviators' end. Picked up by Charlie. Charlie, far side to Owen. Owen tried to send it through the middle. Moorhead was able to keep that in. They have control down in the corner. Behind the net. They feed it back out to the point. Over to the far side. Shot sent on. That got blocked by Charlie. Down below the goal line. Moorhead has control. They backhand it over to the far side. This one will be picked up by Miedema. He sends it off the defenseman out to the neutral zone. Back to Henderson in his own blue line. Takes a look, skates this one forward. Doesn't like what he sees, holds on to it. Backhands one into the zone. Yana's going to chase after this down below the goal line. About 2 minutes to play here. Yana feeds one out front. Puck loose. Opportunity there for Berg, but it got tipped and up and over the net. Berg steals it back. Yana battling for it down in the corner. Moorhead pulls this one away and back out they come into the neutral zone. They elect to dump it in, go for a change. The near side, picked up by Henderson. He's got a Moorhead player all over him. Slips away from that. Backhands one up to Yana. He was falling down as well. Moorhead has control. High slot. Ooh, off a stick there. Golden opportunity. Shots it on. Puck loose. Backhanded on. That one goes wide. Picked up by Henderson. Under 1.5 to play here. Henderson with it. Trying to get it out. Him and Seffi battling on the boards. Trying to get control of this puck. Moorhead has a couple players in there as well. Berg joins it. Still tied up. Comes loose. Henderson dumps it down. That one will go for icing. And we'll head back down into the Aviators' end. So, 1 minute and 4 seconds to play here. In this third period, Aviators down by 2. See if the Aviators elect to take a timeout here. Looks like they're not going to. Fiala line comes out for the Aviators. Charlie are the defensemen. Charlie with it. Sends one off the wall. Moorhead gathers it up. They ring it back down below the goal line. Picked up by Benson. Pushes over in the near side corner. Shower comes down to help out. Backhands one to Charlie. Charlie backhands one out to Fiala. That bounces off of his stick. Moorhead gets control. Blasky trying to steal it away. Moorhead still with control. They send it up the near side. Dump it down in the Aviators' end. 40 seconds to play. Benson with it. Hands it off to Blasky. Blasky goes behind his own net. Sends it up to Shower. That goes off of his stick out in the neutral zone. About 25 seconds to play. Not a lot of time. Aviators have to pull off a miracle here to tie this one up. Comes out in the neutral zone to Charlie. Charlie chips one in. About 12 seconds to play. Moorhead looks like they're content on just slowing things down and getting out of this game. There's Fiala. Gets it to Charlie. Now over to Shower. Shower spin around. That one goes off a skate and just wide, but that's the end of this one. Moorhead victorious 4-2 here this evening. So a big period for the Aviators in the first period there as they jumped out to a 2-0 lead. Moorhead looking a little flat as they got the game going, but they come storming back and end up taking the victory here this evening over the Aviators 4-2. Lots of positives out of this game for the Aviators, though. They did have a lot of good opportunities, moving the puck very, very well, looking like a totally different team than we've seen in the last few weeks. Looking a little more like the team that we saw in the first few weeks. So you got to look at the positives here for the Aviators. It'll bode well for them going into the game tomorrow as they take on their in-town rivals, the Grand Forks Bantam A Blue team. Hopefully you can join us for that one. It promises to be a pretty exciting game. Always is whenever you play your fellow teammates. A lot of those kids have played on the same teams before and whatnot, so it's usually a pretty good battle. But hopefully you guys can join us for that one. It is up on the YouTube and on the Facebook page. That'll be at 1:45. Hopefully you can join us for that one. It should be a pretty exciting one. But as always, we appreciate you joining us for this one, and we'll see you next time.